world-renowned Dr. Patrick Treacy. Please introduce yourself, sir. Against the clock, so there is a timer running, and there will be a little league table to see who ends up where, basically.
I see. Okay.
Okay, so the timer will start as soon as I ask you the first question. Are you ready?
Okay.
Perfect. First question is, what's your favorite aesthetic procedure and why, please, in a nutshell?
Dermot Fillers has been. I'm also an artist, and I could have went to art school. I had the qualification, got an A-level art. So I'm also left-handed and creative to play guitar. So as a consequence, you can sculpt your face. I know some companies tell doctors there how to do it, Botox by numbers, Dermot Fillers by dots and CKs on the cheek and that. And that makes, I suppose, people who have very little talent into somebody who's has some talent, but the only thing is that it makes everybody look the same, you know. And even though you look at the lectures and it's bespoke, am I up against the timer? I shouldn't be.
Kind of, yes, kind of.
Oh, I see. Okay, sorry, I didn't know it was a game. But anyway, if you know what I mean, you
Yes.
take a face and you can create it and make a sculpture with it.
Yes.
I find that wonderful and respect the fact that people allow us to do that.
Okay, perfect. What's your favorite song, please?
I must say I'm a U2 fan, and Bono writes wonderful lyrics, but they're often ambiguous, and like a lot of Dylan work, they can be subject to interpretation by the interviewer. Which one? Probably one. And I think one, you know, sort of is a breakup of a relationship, which I've written about in my own life. Did it disappoint you? Did it leave a bad taste in your mouth? You act like you never had love. You want me to go without? And then there's, I suppose, anger in it later on. You know, did you come here for forgiveness? Did you come to raise the dead? Blah, blah, blah. So I think that's a wonderful song, lyrically well composed and musically very coherent.
Okay, wonderful. What's your favorite color?
Favorite color is blue, and always has been. I think it denotes trust, sincerity. It has a calming influence. So, you know, we use it in medicine on the psychiatric wards to calm down a patient where his red turns them up.
Yeah.
It denotes intelligence, precision, peace,
Okay.
loyalty, all those
Wonderful.
things.
I see. I thought I was repping here, wearing the Irish colours for you.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
Oh dear. Next
Oh, you're
question.
following. That's what Kate Middleton did as well, of course.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
Lady Di in her time.
Yeah.
And the Queen. So you're following a good tradition.
There you go. Some powerful role models there.
Yes.
Next question: tea or coffee, and how do you like it?
I must say coffee, and I sort of used many different blends. At the moment, I've about 4 different ones. I use it either by filter, by sort of compression, and it's wonderful because even though I spent a lot of my life in tea plantations throughout Uganda, India, and all the rest, up in Assam, I still have something about coffee. You know, Uganda, Brazil, Mexico, and you can make up your own varieties. I like it with sweeteners and milk.
Okay, perfect.
Otherwise.
Yeah, great. What is the most used emoji on your phone, please?
Probably the most used emoji is laughing with a smile, because I tend to use them mostly for people sending me funny things. If I want to return, I just, instead of writing LOL, which turns into emoji anyway. So every now and then I may have shock horror, but usually not.
Okay, great. What's your favorite hobby that isn't anything to do with work?
Well, I must say writing. If I published a book in 2015, I wrote it in 2012 during the last recession, and it was like a memoir, so I needed to bring that up to date. So I wrote it recently as well, actually. That's 3 books I'll have out this year, which brought it up to date from 2012 to 2020, and it goes into my research, the reason I got awards, everything I got there, and then the other 2 on the history of medicine. Hopefully there'll be a legacy when we all pass on.
Wow, wonderful. I mean, you're making me feel guilty about my inactivity during lockdown compared to you.
Better than me. I'm looking haggard, all that lawsuit.
Oh dear. If you were a superhero, what would your superpower be?
Well, I suppose being a Brit or Irish, compared to Americans, we're not into superheroes in the same way. But if I was to look at superheroes, the sort of powers that probably I would like would be number one, flight, because you can look down on everything from above, get a helicopter view, whereas people often are very prejudiced. They're caught in the middle of a situation. They don't take the overall view, the helicopter view, and maybe also the cloak of invisibility, that you can sort of go in and see what's happening and still at the same time influence in the way without people, assuming that you've a subjective attitude rather than an objective one.
Okay, great. Sweet or savory, please?
Well, at the moment, because I'm a ketogenic diet, I'd have to go for savory rather than sweet. I think that sugar has been the destruction of Western civilization as we know it. Very few people can hardly believe that there was no sugar in our diet 300 years ago. It only came as a consequence of the colonies, particularly with the French and Spanish in Haiti and I suppose down through Cuba. And obviously it's an addictive type drug. And we know that you can actually restore that addiction, not even by taking the subject, but actually looking at a picture of it. It's quite phenomenal, actually, when you look at neurological MRIs, how it lights up the brain with dopamine, just looking at a picture, which is incredible. Cocaine doesn't even do that, you know.
Wow, that's very, very interesting. On to the next one. Netflix.
Now, which may come into COVID as well, because a lot of the ethnic people who are dying are also quite fat or have diabetes as a consequence of translating diets that they had for 10,000 years over to a Western one, which is totally sugar. And I've seen this in Australia when I worked with flying doctors. You know, I was on a plane and I'd take somebody out with chest pain and they were 38. I'd say, okay, if this person now was white and they were 58, they'd have a heart attack. I'm bringing them with me, you know. Anyway, sorry. I digress.
No, that's okay. Very interesting. Netflix, do you have time to watch it? And if so, what are you currently watching?
You know what I was watching on Netflix recently was The Last Post, which was the last time that the British Army were in before they left Aden. And it reminded me so much of my time in Iraq. You know, the same thing, going out of the desert at night, watching for scorpions. The sort of people, are they with us, are they against us, the way they look at you in their eyes, the heat, the incessant heat, if you get lost in the desert with no water, you know. And I traveled extensively in Iraq compared to most of my colleagues. I mean, I was in Babylon, Nineveh, I was in Karbala, and, you know, I was up in Al Abalia where he gassed the Kurds and got arrested as a consequence and spent some time in Saddam's prisons. But yeah, I must say that I found that very accurate and entertaining. Surprised it was made by an American company, because it seemed to get the whole British aspect quite well, I thought.
Okay, wonderful. It's on my list to watch, actually. I haven't seen that, so I'm looking forward to it, especially if you say it's pretty accurate.
Yeah, it's good. Now, it does obviously have some of the soldiers' wives as gin drinking, you know, sort of, I wouldn't say a harlots, but, you know, I'm sure that's the way it was. You know, people get bored, they have no friends to go out with, there are no nightclubs to go to, and I'm sure that, you know,
of course,
it happens with doctors' wives as well, I'm sure, you know.
True. Moving on to the next question. If you hadn't found yourself in the world of aesthetics, because you've had such a wide sort of variety in your career already, what would you be doing if it had nothing to do with medicine?
Well, if another with medicine, probably a musician, I would have thought, with a band. My brother sort of fills that void for me to an extent and sells me all of his songs. Yeah, I still would like to get, you can see if you look over here, all my guitars are still light up against the wall, you know.
Oh yeah, wonderful.
I haven't lifted one of them in years, but anyway.
Well, you may have some time now that you finish your third book. Maybe it's time to pick up the guitar.
Sure, that's what my brother keeps saying to me, even last night, yeah.
That's it. Great. Exercise-wise, do you prefer cardio or weights?
I'm useless at exercise. I mean, when the recession happened and we moved the location of our clinic, it's right on top of one of the biggest gyms in England and Ireland, David Lloyd's. It's got about 9,000 members. And I must say, I never go even on one of the machines, you know. So I'm terrible. I just find a ketogenic diet loses more weight almost than running up and down the block.
Fine. I'll let you off on that one then.